Commissioner Gordon, Bane has escaped.
Answer this honestly. Are you the man you thought you'd be by now? Don't answer fast. Sit with it. Because somewhere between 18 and 25, your life quietly stopped being a story you were writing and started being a script you were repeating. The personality locked. The excuses locked. The friends locked. The weekly routine locked. And from that point on, you haven't been living a life. You've been running one on a loop. You tell yourself you're still growing. You mean it. But all you're really doing is rearranging the furniture in a room you stopped building years ago. Nobody told you this was happening because nobody around you knows it's happening to them too. They're in the same room. Different furniture, same walls. You were handed a blank page, and somewhere along the way you started treating it like a script you had to memorize. That's the trick they pulled on you. They got you to perform your life instead of build one. And now you call the performance just who I am. It's not who you are. It's who you stopped fighting to outgrow. There's a difference, and pretending there isn't is costing you years you're never getting back. Everybody you know is tired. Everybody is broke or close to it. Everybody is half checked out, scrolling through a life they don't remember agreeing to. And your brain, being a brain, looks around and decides this must be normal. If everyone's doing it, how bad can it be? That's the con. Your misery has company, and you've mistaken the company for proof that the misery is fine. It's not. Average is where your potential goes to die with a nice funeral and a crowd. The hardest part of climbing out isn't the climb. It's that the people around you will start treating you like you're the problem. Your boys will say you've changed. Your family will say you think you're better than them. The girl will say you're cold. And they're right. You have changed. That's the whole point. You can't become rare while staying easy for common people to understand. Pick one. You can be liked by who you were, or become who you're supposed to be. Not both. Write that down if you have to. The price of the second one is losing some of the first, and if you're not ready to pay that, you're not actually trying to change. You're just talking about it. Count your weeks. Go ahead. Pull up a calendar. Same gym days, same meals, same drive to the same job, same weekend, same arguments with the same people about the same nothing. Your week repeats 52 times and you call it a year. Your year repeats 40 times and you call it a life. Your brain compresses all that sameness into a blur, which is why your early 20s feel like they happened last month. And your 30s are going to feel like a long weekend if you keep going like this. You're not running out of time. You're running out of the kind of time that sticks. Safe weeks don't stick. Boring months don't stick. Only the hard stuff, the scary stuff, the new stuff. That's what your memory actually saves. Everything else gets deleted while you sleep. You think you've been living. You've been watching your life play on autopilot from the back seat. The exception puts friction on his calendar on purpose. Hard conversations, new skills, rooms he doesn't belong in yet, not for the post, for the memory. Because he's figured out a forgettable year isn't a year you lived. It's a year that happened near you. That tight feeling in your chest when someone you know wins. Pay attention to that. The buddy who got the promotion, the cousin who got in shape, the guy from high school who started the business. You smile, you say congrats, but underneath something pinches. You've been lying about that pinch your whole life. That's not random. That's a map. Envy is the most honest thing inside you, and it's always pointing at the version of your life you secretly believe is possible and are refusing to go get. It hurts because you know. You know the gap between you and him isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't his dad. It's a decision you keep not making, stacked daily for years, until the pile got tall enough you started calling it just how my life is. Stop burying the envy. Interview it. Ask it what it wants. Let it tell you, in its ugly little voice, which version of yourself you gave up on and when. Then go back and get him. Not because some video told you to, because you owe somebody. His name is the man you were supposed to be, and he's been watching you quit for a long time. I'm not disciplined. I'm bad with money. I'm just anxious. I've always been lazy. Listen to yourself. Those aren't facts about you. Those are spells you've been casting on yourself so long you forgot you were the one saying them. Your brain doesn't know the difference between describing and commanding. Whatever story you tell about yourself, the system starts making it true. And here's the part that'll mess you up if you sit with it. Most of those sentences weren't even yours first. Some teacher said it when you were 9. Your dad said it when you were 12. A girl said it when you were 16. You swallowed it whole because you were too young to know you didn't have to. You've been enforcing somebody else's opinion of you on yourself for 20 years. You've been the guard and the prisoner in the same cell, and the door was never locked. You just stopped trying the handle because everyone around you agreed it was locked. And after a while, their agreement started feeling like proof. It's not proof. It's a group of people who also stopped trying their own handle. That's all it ever was. Your phone did something to you. Something real. Something nobody warned you about while it was happening. Every swipe, every notification, every 10-second clip has been slowly rewiring what your brain even sees as a reward anymore. That's why nothing feels like anything. That's why a book feels impossible. That's why sitting quietly for 20 minutes feels like punishment. It's not weakness. You trained your brain 1,000 times a day for 10 years to expect a little hit of pleasure every 3 seconds. And now the slow, boring, unrewarding work that actually builds a real life feels unbearable because your baseline is cooked. You can't willpower your way out of this. You have to starve it. Put the phone in another room. Leave it there. The first week feels like coming off a drug because that's what it is. The next month feels flat and gray. Then something comes back that you forgot you had. The ability to read for an hour. The ability to sit with a hard problem until it cracks. The ability to feel good about work nobody clapped for. That used to be standard in a man. You traded it for confetti, and now you wonder why your life feels small and loud at the same time. No phone. No music. No TV. No one to text. Most men can't do it. 40 minutes in, something starts screaming to be filled, and they fill it. Because underneath the reach for the phone is a low, ugly fear that if the noise ever fully stops, they'll have to sit across from the version of themselves they've been running from for years. That meeting is where everything you actually need is hiding. Every real thought you've ever had, every honest read on your own life, every decision that actually mattered. All of it came from the room everyone else ran out of. Your phone isn't a tool, it's a babysitter, making sure you're never left alone with your own mind. Notice what shows up in the first hour after you put it down. Notice the thoughts that come up, the ones you've been drowning in noise so you wouldn't have to hear them. Those thoughts were trying to tell you something. They still are. They'll keep trying until you die or listen, and one of those is definitely going to happen first. Pick. Name your 5 closest boys. Go ahead, name them. Now ask yourself, what do they talk about? What do they complain about? What do they laugh at? What do they not even think is possible? Whatever their answer is, that's your ceiling. Not a guess, a fact. You are the average of the 5 men you spend the most time with, and that's not a poster quote. That's a threat. Their ambition is your ambition. Their excuses are your vocabulary. Their tolerance for a small life is now yours. You've been calling it loyalty, calling it my guys. Meanwhile, the weight of their lives has been quietly setting the limit on yours, and you didn't notice because you've been swimming in it since you were 16. The exception does something that looks cold and feels colder. He moves away, not with a big speech, not burning bridges, just quietly, week by week, less time with the ones holding the baseline down, more time, even tiny amounts, with men whose normal is the life he's trying to build. There's no way around this one. You cannot become exceptional while soaking in average. Some of the people who love you most will be the heaviest thing you carry, not because they want to hurt you, but because your climb makes their standing still look like a choice. They won't always forgive you for it. Do it anyway. The pain of losing some of them is smaller than the pain of staying the same to keep them. Do the math. Not tomorrow. Now. Pull out whatever you waste time on most this week and multiply it by 52. Then by 10. That number is a real number. That's what you just spent. Not might spend. Spent. The decision already happened, you just haven't gotten the bill yet. Every skipped workout is a body you'll apologize to your wife for in 15 years. Every unread book is a conversation you'll fumble in a room full of men who read. Every late night scrolling is a morning you'll hate yourself in, multiplied by a decade of mornings. The future isn't mysterious, it's arithmetic. And the reason nobody does the math is because the math is humiliating. You already know the answer. You just refuse to write it down, because the second you see it on paper, you can't pretend anymore. That's the whole game. Not awareness, not motivation. Written down arithmetic you can't unsee. Try it once and watch what it does to you. A $10 a day habit is $40,000 in 10 years. An hour of scrolling after work is 15,000 hours in 20. A small lie you keep telling your girl is a divorce on an installment plan. None of this is dramatic. That's what makes it lethal. Big mistakes wake you up. Small ones put you to sleep while they drain you. You've been bleeding out from paper cuts and calling it stability. And here's the worst part. The guy next to you, the one whose life you envy, isn't doing something wildly different. He's just running his small decisions through a calculator you refuse to use. He sees the 10 years, you see the 10 minutes. That's the whole gap. It was never talent. It was math you wouldn't do because doing it meant facing what you already chose. Brutal honesty isn't what you think it is. It's not saying hard things out loud. Anyone can rant. Brutal honesty is sitting alone in a room and admitting, without an audience, that you knew. You knew when you took the job. You knew when you stayed with her. You knew when you skipped the gym that third Monday in a row. You knew, and you did it anyway. And then you built a whole story afterwards about why it wasn't really your fault. That story is the tax. Every time you lie to yourself about a decision you already made, you pay interest on it in the form of a smaller future. Men don't fall, they compound. Slowly, quietly. In a direction they've already picked but refuse to admit they picked. Regret has a shape, and it's not what you're picturing. It's not dramatic. It's not tears. It's a 42-year-old man standing in his kitchen at 11 p.m., looking at the microwave clock, suddenly understanding that the life he's in was fully decided by a version of himself at 26 who thought he still had time. That's it. That's the scene. No soundtrack, no closure. Just a man and a clock and a quiet, permanent knowing. You think regret comes from the big moments. It doesn't. It comes from the small ones you didn't notice were the big ones. The Tuesday you didn't send the message. The Sunday you didn't start the thing. The quiet yes to a life you never actually wanted, but kept choosing by not choosing anything else. Here's a harder one. The version of you 10 years from now is already sending signals back. You call them gut feelings. You call them weird moods. You call them the reason you can't sleep at 3 a.m., even though nothing's technically wrong. That's not random. That's him. He's trying to get a message through the static, and the message is always the same. You know what you need to do, and you're not doing it. Every man has heard this voice. Most men drown it with noise, food, women, weed, work, whatever's nearest. The exception learns to sit with the voice long enough to hear the specific sentence underneath it. Because the voice isn't vague. It's pointing at something exact. You already know what? You've known for months. The only real question is how many more 3 a.m.s you need before you stop negotiating with it. Denial has a price tag, and it's printed in years. 5 years pretending the relationship is fine. 3 years pretending the job is temporary. 7 years pretending you'll start next month. Add it up, that's a decade. A literal decade of your one life spent maintaining a story instead of changing a situation. And the cruelest part, denial always feels cheaper than action in the moment. That's why you keep choosing it. Today, the hard conversation costs more than the lie. Tomorrow, the lie costs more than the conversation. The day after, the lie costs more than the conversation ever could have. You keep paying the small price, thinking you're getting off easy, not realizing the small price renews every day forever until you end it. Denial isn't a position, it's a subscription. Imagine every decision you make today has to be defended, line by line, to the version of you on his last good day, not the dying day. The last day his body still moves, his mind is still sharp, and he can still see his whole life laid out clean behind him. He's going to ask you about this week. He's going to ask about that habit. He's going to ask why you didn't pick up the phone, why you didn't leave, why you stayed, why you waited. And he's not going to accept "I was tired," or "it was a hard time," or "I didn't know." You knew. It was you. The only reason his questions are brutal is because he finally stopped lying, and he remembers exactly when you could have too. That conversation is coming. You don't get to skip it. The only thing you get to choose is what you hand him when he asks. Count what you're protecting. Not what you want. What you're protecting. The image, the comfort. The story your family tells about you at dinner. The version of yourself your boys recognize. The routine that lets you feel normal. Every single one of those is costing you the future you claim you want. And you've been treating them like they're free. They're not. They're the most expensive things you own. The math only works when you're honest about what you're actually paying for. You're not paying to live. You're paying to stay recognizable. To yourself, mostly. Because becoming the man you're supposed to be means the man you currently are has to die. And every cell in your body is fighting that death with everything it has. That fight is what your life feels like right now. That tension in your chest. That low hum of something's off. That's him refusing to go. The math says he has to. You're the one who has to sign the paper. Dostoevsky wrote one sentence that should be tattooed on the inside of every man's skull above all. Don't lie to yourself. He didn't say, don't lie to your boss. Didn't say, don't lie to your boys. Didn't say, don't lie to your family. Those are bad. But he knew something darker. The man who lies to other people can still be saved. The man who lies to himself is already gone and doesn't know it. Because every lie you tell outward, you still hear. Your ear still catches it. Somewhere in you, a small voice says, that wasn't true. But a lie you tell inward, that voice gets bought off. That voice becomes part of the lie. And once the witness inside you is corrupted, there's no one left to catch anything. You've sold the only guard you had. Everything after that is theater. The lie you tell yourself most is the one you'd swear you don't tell. That's the design of it. You don't notice it because it's not a sentence anymore. It became a filter. It became the lens you see your whole life through. Ask a drunk man if he's a drunk. Ask a lazy man if he's lazy. Ask a coward if he's a coward. Every one of them will give you a real answer, and every one of them will be wrong, and none of them will know they're wrong. That's what a self-lie does when it's had enough years to set. It doesn't feel like lying. It feels like seeing. You're not lying about your life. You're looking at it through the lie. There's a difference, and it's the scariest difference there is. Here's what Dostoevsky understood that the self-help chef doesn't. A man who lies to himself stops being able to recognize the truth when it shows up in other people. Your friend tells you something real. You hear an attack. Your brother points something out. You hear jealousy. Your father says the hard thing. You hear control. You think you're being mistreated. You're being mirrored. Everything that's honest in the world starts sounding hostile to you, because honesty has become the one frequency your nervous system trained itself to reject. You isolate. You call it peace. You surround yourself with people who agree with the lie, and you call them your circle. That's not a circle. That's a tomb with conversation. Self-deception has tiers, and you've only ever lived in the shallow one. The first tier is obvious. You tell yourself you'll start Monday. You tell yourself one more won't hurt. You tell yourself this time will be different. Small lies, almost harmless on their own. The second tier is worse. You lie about why you do what you do. You call fear strategy. You call avoidance patience. You call cowardice being realistic. You call bitterness wisdom. The third tier is where men disappear. You lie about who you are, not what you did, who you are. And once that lie sets, every action you take from that point on is in service of protecting a fictional character with your name on it. You're not living a life. You're defending a brand you invented to avoid meeting yourself. The man you pretend to be is a tax on the man you could become. Every ounce of energy you spend maintaining a version of yourself that isn't true is energy stolen from the version that could be. That's why you're tired all the time and can't figure out why. It's not your schedule, it's the performance. Running a character 24 hours a day inside your own skull is the most expensive thing a man can do, and you've been doing it since you were 13. Drop the character for 1 hour and watch how much energy floods back in. That's not rest. That's what it feels like to stop lying for 60 minutes. You've forgotten what baseline human presence even feels like, because you haven't been present. You've been performing, even when you were alone. Listen to how you tell the story of your own life. Pay attention the next time you explain why a thing didn't work out. Listen for the word, but listen for the word because. Listen for the quiet little edits you make in real time to protect the hero of the story, who is, conveniently, always you. Every man is the innocent narrator of his own disasters. Every failure had a reason outside him. Every opportunity that slipped had bad timing. Every job that didn't work out had a bad boss. Every year he wasted had extenuating circumstances. And the whole time, a second man sits in the back of his skull, knowing exactly what really happened, waiting for the performance to end, getting quieter every year he's ignored. That second man is the only one worth listening to. He's the one Dostoevsky was talking about, and you've been gagging him since you were old enough to feel shame. Truth has a specific texture, and once you've felt it, you can never fully forget it. It's heavy, it's quiet, it doesn't argue. When a real truth about yourself lands, there's no adrenaline. There's a kind of stillness, like a door clicking shut in a room you didn't know was open. That's why men avoid it. Adrenaline you can survive. Stillness you can't hide inside of. Every man has had those moments. 3 a.m., the shower, the long drive, where a clean truth slipped past the guard and landed. And every man has his move, the exact mental gesture he uses to push it back under. A thought, a distraction, a promise to deal with it later. Watch yourself do it next time. That move, that tiny reflex, is the single most important thing happening in your life, and you've never once looked at it directly.